Welcome. Before we dive into this incredible story, tell me where you're watching from. And don't forget to subscribe, because a lot of work went into uncovering the hidden truths behind this mansion. This isn't just about wealth or luxury. It's about secrets buried behind gilded walls, dark stories that history tried to hide, and the truth behind one of the most famous old money families in the world. The origins of the Rothschild mansion are steeped in opulence, power, and a careful cultivation of secrecy that has made it one of the most intriguing estates in European history. Constructed during the height of the Rothschild family's banking empire, the mansion was not merely a home, but a symbol of influence, wealth, and status. From the very beginning, every architectural decision was deliberate, designed to convey power while simultaneously creating a network of private spaces hidden from the public eye. The family commissioned renowned architects and artisans to ensure that no detail was too small. Every corridor, every staircase, every panel of woodwork was crafted with precision, not only for aesthetic beauty, but to establish a sense of exclusivity and control. It was a fortress of comfort, but also of secrecy. The Rothschilds were masters of maintaining appearances while conducting their extensive financial operations behind closed doors. The mansion itself became a physical manifestation of this philosophy. To the casual visitor, it was a lavish residence, filled with priceless artwork, elaborate furniture, and exquisite decorative objects from across Europe. Yet beneath this farce, lay layers of carefully constructed privacy, rooms that were inaccessible to guests, secret stairways leading to hidden chambers, and storage spaces for documents and valuables that only trusted family members could access. These architectural choices reflected a broader mindset. The Rothschilds understood that true power often depends on what remains unseen. In addition to serving as a luxurious residence, the mansion functioned as a center of influence. It was a place where the family could host dignitaries, financiers, and political figures in an environment tailored to impress, while maintaining control over the narrative. Guests would witness the grandeur of the house and the elegance of its occupants, but they would never see the private areas where decisions with far-reaching consequences were made. The design ensured that even the most powerful visitors were always in a subtle position of vulnerability or dependency, reinforcing the family's dominance without overt confrontation. The mansion's construction also reflected the Rothschilds' awareness of the social and political climate of their time. Europe in the 19th century was a landscape of shifting alliances, revolutions, and financial turbulence. Wealthy families like the Rothschilds were under constant scrutiny, not only from competitors, but also from governments and the general public. The mansion's layout incorporated strategic elements to protect the family's safety and the security of their wealth. Hidden rooms could serve as retreats in case of unrest, and secret passageways allowed for discreet movement throughout the property. In a sense, the mansion was both a home and a safeguard, a private world insulated from external threats, while still projecting an image of untouchable elegance. The Rothschilds' meticulous attention to privacy extended beyond the mansion's physical design to the way they conducted their daily lives within it. Social gatherings, business meetings, and personal interactions were all carefully choreographed. Servants and staff were selected not only for their competence, but also for their discretion. The family's routines, even seemingly mundane ones, was structured to minimize exposure and maintain control over information. This disciplined approach ensured that the mansion was more than a symbol of wealth. It was a strategic tool, a living embodiment of the family's ability to wield power through secrecy and careful management of perception. Over time, the mansion became a repository of both wealth and history. Art collections, financial records, and priceless heirlooms were preserved within its walls. But so too were secrets, scandals, hidden relationships, and decisions that shaped the financial and political landscape of Europe. The Rothschilds understood that their influence depended not just on what they possessed, but also on the stories that remained untold. The mansion, in its grandeur and in its hidden chambers, reflected this delicate balance between visibility and concealment, making it one of the most enigmatic estates of its era. Ultimately, the origins of the Rothschild mansion illustrate more than just luxury or wealth. They reveal a deliberate strategy of control, secrecy, and influence. Every brick, every corridor, every hidden room was a testament to a family that understood how to protect its legacy while projecting power. The mansion was a home, a fortress, and a stage all at once, an enduring symbol of old money sophistication and the dark secrets that wealth can conceal. In understanding its origins, we begin to see how the Rothschilds were not only bankers, but also masters of perception, ensuring that the mansion would remain both admired and mysterious for generations to come. Hidden rooms and secret passages within the Rothschild mansion were not mere architectural curiosities. They were carefully designed instruments of control, privacy, and intrigue. From the moment one stepped into the mansion, the grand design projected wealth and refinement. But beneath that veneer lay an intricate network of concealed spaces, known only to the family and a few trusted staff. These hidden rooms were not advertised or shown to visitors, yet they served multiple purposes: secure storage for valuables, private offices for financial dealings, and safe retreats in times of unrest. Every secret corridor, disguised doorway, and camouflaged stairway reflected the Rothschilds' obsession with security, secrecy, and the careful management of appearances. The existence of these concealed areas speaks to the family's understanding of vulnerability. While the mansion's exterior projected absolute power and sophistication, the Rothschilds recognized that wealth attracted danger from thieves, political rivals, and opportunists. Secret rooms and passages allowed them to move discreetly through the house, conduct business away from prying eyes, and even escape if necessary. Some passages connected guest quarters to hidden exits, enabling the family to observe visitors without being seen. Others led to storage rooms where sensitive documents, ledgers, and private collections were kept under lock and key, away from anyone who might exploit them. What made these spaces remarkable was the ingenuity with which they were concealed. Panels that appeared as part of the wall could swing open to reveal small chambers. Bookcases slid sideways to uncover stairways leading to basements or upper rooms. Even fireplaces, a common centerpiece in lavish rooms, sometimes hid access points to rooms unknown to casual observers. These architectural tricks were designed not only for security, but to maintain the illusion of openness and grandeur. Visitors might spend hours in the mansion, marveling at its opulence, completely unaware that some areas were entirely inaccessible to them, functioning as private sanctuaries for the family. The hidden spaces were also central to the mansion's role as a hub of influence. In these rooms, the Rothschilds could meet with key political figures, foreign dignitaries, and business partners without risk of surveillance. Decisions that shaped European finance, diplomacy, and trade were often made behind closed doors, shielded from the public eye. The very architecture of the mansion reflected a strategic philosophy. Power is not merely what is displayed, but what remains unseen. Every hidden passage, therefore, was both a literal and symbolic representation of the family's mastery over perception and control. Some of the secret rooms had more than functional purposes. They were repositories of personal and family history. Vaults containing letters, journals, and artifacts were tucked away, accessible only to select family members. These rooms allowed the Rothschilds to preserve their legacy while ensuring that the information remained secure from outsiders. Even today, historians and researchers who have gained limited access to these hidden chambers describe them as almost ritualistic, a mixture of utility and reverence, where wealth, history, and secrecy coexist. The secrecy of the mansion extended beyond physical architecture to the daily lives of those who lived there. Staff were carefully vetted for discretion, and knowledge of hidden rooms was tightly controlled. Many of the servants might work in the house for decades without ever seeing the family's private passages. This strict regulation of access ensured that the hidden spaces remained impenetrable to outsiders, reinforcing the mansion's mystique. In this way, the Rothschilds could exercise a degree of privacy and autonomy that was rare even among Europe's wealthiest families. The hidden rooms and passages also had a psychological effect. Visitors who sensed the mansion's carefully maintained secrecy often felt both awe and intimidation. They were reminded, subtly, that the family controlled not just their wealth, but the very environment around them. Knowledge, movement, and access were all carefully curated. The mansion itself became an extension of the Rothschilds' influence, teaching visitors that power resides in what is both seen and unseen. Over the years, these concealed spaces became the source of numerous legends and stories. Tales of secret meetings, hidden treasures, and clandestine negotiations circulated, often exaggerated but always rooted in fact. Even in modern times, the mansion continues to capture the imagination of historians, architects, and visitors alike. The allure lies not only in the family's wealth, but in the very human fascination with hidden knowledge, the idea that behind every door lies a story untold, a truth shielded from view. In essence, the hidden rooms and secret passages of the Rothschild mansion were much more than architectural flourishes. They were strategic tools that reinforced the family's social, financial, and psychological power. Each concealed chamber was a testament to the Rothschilds, understanding that secrecy amplifies influence, that control over space and information can be as important as control over money. By blending elegance with enigma, the mansion became both a home and a fortress, a place where luxury and discretion existed in perfect harmony. Ultimately, these hidden spaces remain a window into the mind of the Rothschild family, meticulous, cautious, and ever aware that true power often lies not in what is displayed for the world to see, but in what is kept quietly, secretly, behind closed doors. They remind us that behind every legendary estate, there are stories that even the most opulent walls cannot fully reveal, secrets that continue to intrigue and mystify to this day. The mysterious events and scandals linked to the Rothschild mansion's past occupants form one of the most compelling and shadowed aspects of its history. While the mansion projected an image of unassailable wealth, refinement, and cultural sophistication, beneath its gilded walls there were whispers of intrigue, betrayal, and incidents that the family went to great lengths to conceal. The very grandeur of the mansion, with its lavish ballrooms, intricate galleries, and priceless collections, created the perfect stage for events that were never meant to be known publicly. Whether involving financial maneuverings, clandestine relationships, or unexplained accidents, these episodes contributed to the mansion's reputation as a place where wealth and secrecy intersected in sometimes disturbing ways. One of the most persistent legends involves secret gatherings of influential figures held in the mansion's hidden chambers. These meetings were said to include high-ranking politicians, bankers from across Europe, and even royalty, convening to negotiate deals that would shape economies and governments. While publicly, the Rothschilds were celebrated for their financial acumen, these private meetings were the subject of speculation and suspicion. Outsiders were never allowed to know what was discussed, yet over time, rumors emerged, suggesting that some arrangements favored the family at the expense of others, and that certain deals resulted in ruin for rival financiers or unsuspecting governments. The secrecy surrounding these events meant that, while their existence could be suspected, the details were often unverifiable, giving the mansion an almost mythic aura of power and moral ambiguity. Beyond financial dealings, there were personal scandals that left a mark on the mansion's history. Tales of forbidden relationships, both within the extended family and with outsiders, circulated quietly among social circles, but were rigorously suppressed in public records. One story involves a liaison between a family member and a foreign diplomat, resulting in a dramatic confrontation in one of the mansion's ornate drawing rooms. The incident allegedly ended quietly, but it left an enduring tension among the household staff and nearby residents. Servants reportedly whispered about cries heard at night, rooms being locked unexpectedly, and a pervasive sense of unease that no explanation could satisfy. While these accounts were rarely documented, oral histories and private letters confirm that life inside the mansion was far from the calm, orderly image portrayed to the outside world. Accidents and unexplained occurrences also contributed to the mansion's enigmatic reputation. Fires that broke out in otherwise safe sections of the house, sudden illnesses affecting guests or staff, and disappearances of valuable objects were all reported over the decades. While some events were dismissed as coincidences or blamed on human error, others defied simple explanation. For instance, several guests who visited the mansion in the late 19th century reportedly became gravely ill shortly after attending private gatherings, leading to speculation about contaminated food or drink, though nothing was ever proven. Whether these events were sinister, accidental, or exaggerated over time, they added layers of mystery to the mansion's history, reinforcing the perception that behind its elegance lurked something darker. The mansion's architecture itself sometimes played a role in these stories. Hidden stairways, concealed panels, and secret chambers allowed for movement unseen by most residents and visitors, creating opportunities for both clandestine meetings and eerie events. Servants who discovered these spaces often reported feelings of unease, claiming that shadows seemed to move on their own, or that they could hear whispers when alone. Historians now recognize that some of these reports were likely influenced by the weight of the mansion's reputation. But the consistency of accounts across decades suggests that the family's deliberate cultivation of secrecy contributed to the perception of mystery and scandal. Political influence also intersected with these mysterious events. The Rothschild family was deeply involved in European finance and diplomacy, and the mansion often served as a venue for negotiations that could alter the course of national policy. Certain rumors suggest that decisions made within the mansion may have influenced wars, trade agreements, and banking regulations. While concrete evidence is scarce, the overlap of power, secrecy, and wealth created fertile ground for stories of manipulation and scandal. Outsiders interpreted the family's discretion as evidence of hidden machinations, and over time, these suspicions became woven into the legend of the mansion. Even artistic and cultural matters were not exempt from intrigue. The Rothschilds' collection of art and antiquities was unmatched, but acquiring such treasures sometimes involved controversy. Letters and private records hint at disputes over provenance, contested inheritances, and high-stakes negotiations that were rarely discussed publicly. These behind-the-scenes conflicts, combined with the mansion's labyrinthine structure and restricted access, made it difficult for outsiders to verify anything, allowing rumors to flourish unchecked. Ultimately, the mysterious events and scandals of the Rothschild mansion underscore a central theme. The closer one is to immense wealth and power, the more carefully truth must be managed. The mansion was a stage on which public appearances of refinement and stability were maintained, while behind its walls, events occurred that few would ever know. Whether these were morally ambiguous decisions, personal indiscretions, or inexplicable accidents, they contributed to an enduring aura of secrecy, fascination, and unease surrounding the estate. The mansion's allure today lies not only in its architectural grandeur, but also in the shadows it holds. Visitors, historians, and storytellers are drawn to the tales of hidden meetings, scandalous liaisons, and mysterious occurrences because they reveal that beneath the surface of wealth, perfection, and prestige, human complexities, greed, desire, fear, and ambition continue to shape history. The Rothschild mansion, with all its hidden corridors and untold stories, remains a symbol of this duality, a home of unimaginable elegance and a repository of secrets that history may never fully uncover. The role of secrecy in preserving the Rothschild family's old, money reputation was perhaps as crucial as the wealth itself. In a world where social standing, influence, and perception could determine both power and survival, the Rothschilds understood that their public image needed careful management. Wealth, they knew, was fragile when exposed to gossip, political jealousy, or the scrutiny of competitors. The mansion itself was a central instrument in this strategy, a physical manifestation of control over both narrative and environment. Every decision, from the layout of rooms to the way visitors were received, reinforced the message that the Rothschilds were untouchable, not only because of their financial prowess, but also because they managed to exist beyond the reach of ordinary observation. Secrecy was woven into every aspect of daily life. Servants were carefully selected not only for loyalty, but for discretion, ensuring that sensitive matters remained hidden. Staff were often unaware of the mansion's hidden chambers or private corridors, and only a small circle of family members knew the full extent of the house's design. This deliberate control over information allowed the Rothschilds to maintain a mystique that reinforced their social dominance. Outsiders could witness grandeur, refinement, and elegance, but the underlying mechanisms of power, financial dealings, private correspondences, and political influence remained invisible. The mansion thus served both as a shield and as a stage, projecting stability while concealing complexity. The importance of secrecy extended to the family's social interactions. Guests were carefully chosen, and gatherings were orchestrated to impress while limiting access to sensitive areas. Even influential visitors, such as diplomats or high-ranking politicians, were guided through spaces that showcased wealth and culture, but avoided areas where critical decisions were made. By controlling what others could see, the Rothschilds reinforced their authority, signaling that even the most powerful outsiders were ultimately observers in a world where the family held true control. In this way, secrecy became a form of influence. The more that others could not know, the more the family's presence and power seemed absolute. This culture of discretion also protected the family from scandals that could threaten their reputation. Rumors and controversies were inevitable in high society, but the Rothschilds' mastery of secrecy minimized exposure. Letters and financial documents were stored in hidden rooms or private safes, ensuring that even those with close proximity to the family had limited access. Decisions with far-reaching consequences were often made behind closed doors, away from the public eye and the press, preventing scrutiny that could undermine their position. Over time, this control over information became a hallmark of old money strategy. The fewer people who knew the full truth, the stronger the family appeared. Secrecy was not merely defensive, it was also a strategic tool for consolidating influence. By keeping their internal operations hidden, the Rothschilds could operate with flexibility, making decisions that shaped markets, politics, and social dynamics without interference. Competitors and even allies had only partial insight into the family's intentions and resources, giving the Rothschilds a consistent advantage. The mansion itself, with its labyrinth of hidden rooms and passageways, symbolized this approach. Just as its design concealed physical spaces, the family concealed knowledge, intentions, and opportunities from the world. The psychological impact of secrecy on outsiders was profound. Visitors, even those accustomed to wealth, often felt a combination of awe and intimidation. The mansion's opulence was undeniable, but the inaccessibility of certain areas suggested that the family's real power lay elsewhere, in places they could not see, understand, or touch. This perception reinforced social hierarchies, reminding observers that the Rothschilds were not just wealthy, but strategically untouchable. The aura of mystery, carefully cultivated over generations, became inseparable from the family's reputation. Secrecy also allowed the Rothschilds to preserve legacy. The family's treasures, documents, and art collections were protected from prying eyes, ensuring that their cultural and financial capital could be passed down intact. Hidden rooms and private archives stored not only wealth, but the history of the family's rise to power, the agreements that secured their dominance, and the records of challenges they overcame. In preserving these elements out of public view, the Rothschilds ensured continuity, enabling successive generations to inherit not only assets, but the advantage of discretion. Even scandals that did occur were managed with extraordinary care. Stories of personal indiscretions, financial disputes, or unexpected deaths rarely reached the public in full detail. Any exposure that threatened reputation was met with swift intervention, documents were hidden, witnesses persuaded to remain silent, and narrative carefully guided to favor the family. In this sense, secrecy was an ongoing, active process, a skill that required vigilance, foresight, and meticulous planning. Ultimately, the role of secrecy in the Rothschild mansion was inseparable from the family's enduring influence. It was a tool that protected wealth, shaped perception, and amplified power. By controlling both the physical and informational spaces around them, the Rothschilds created an environment in which their reputation could flourish unchallenged, their legacy preserved, and their mystique maintained. The mansion, with its hidden corridors, private rooms, and carefully controlled exposure, stands as a testament to the idea that in the world of old money, what is unseen can be far more powerful than what is displayed. The Rothschilds' mastery of secrecy reminds us that influence is as much about perception as it is about tangible assets. The mansion was more than a residence. It was a carefully orchestrated environment designed to protect, conceal, and impress. Through the preservation of privacy, control of knowledge, and strategic concealment, the family ensured that their old money reputation remained untarnished, enduring across generations, and continuing to inspire fascination, speculation, and awe to this day. The legacy of the Rothschild mansion today is a complex interplay of wealth, history, and fascination, a testament to a family that has long been shrouded in both admiration and mystery. Even centuries after its construction, the mansion continues to captivate historians, architects, and curious visitors alike, not merely for its architectural brilliance or artistic treasures, but for the stories that remain hidden behind its walls. The mansion stands as a symbol of old money power, reflecting the careful cultivation of influence, the preservation of legacy, and the deliberate control over both what is seen and what is kept secret. Every room, hallway, and hidden chamber continues to speak, silently, of a family that understood the value of perception as much as possession. Today, the mansion attracts those drawn to history and intrigue. Tourists and scholars alike are fascinated by its ornate facades, grand ballrooms, and meticulously decorated interiors. Artworks collected from across Europe, intricate woodwork, and lavish furnishings offer a glimpse into the family's immense wealth, while simultaneously suggesting the layers of narrative that remain inaccessible. Every object within the mansion, from priceless paintings to delicate porcelain, carries with it the weight of secrecy, provenance often carefully documented in private ledgers, sometimes hidden from public scrutiny, revealing the deliberate maintenance of control over knowledge. These elements make the mansion not merely a residence, but a living archive of the family's social, financial, and cultural influence. The mansion's hidden passages and secret rooms continue to fascinate modern visitors. Architectural historians study these spaces with a mix of admiration and curiosity, recognizing them as both practical innovations and statements of power. The secret chambers, once used for private meetings, storage of valuables, or discreet observation of guests, now serve as tangible reminders of the lengths to which the Rothschilds went to safeguard their influence and personal affairs. Even today, few outsiders are granted access to these areas, preserving the air of mystery that has defined the estate for generations. The inaccessibility of certain spaces enhances the mansion's allure, creating a sense that there are always stories left untold, secrets still lingering, and events that occurred within its walls that may never be revealed. The mansion's cultural legacy extends beyond its physical architecture and treasures. It has inspired countless stories, books, and studies about wealth, secrecy, and power. Scholars often reference it as a case study in the management of influence, demonstrating how a family's private environment can serve as both a fortress and a stage for cultivating authority. Meanwhile, popular culture and folklore have elevated the mansion to a symbol of intrigue, where speculation about secret dealings, scandals, and mysterious occurrences persists. Visitors are drawn not only to admire the aesthetic beauty of the estate, but to imagine the hidden histories that unfolded behind its gilded doors. Preservation efforts have ensured that the mansion continues to stand as a monument to history, though much of its mystique relies on the tension between visibility and concealment. Conservationists work to maintain the structural integrity and artistic heritage of the estate, while historians delve into archival records to uncover the stories that the family deliberately kept hidden. This duality, the public display of grandeur and the private safeguarding of legacy, defines the mansion's modern relevance. It serves as a lens through which we can explore questions of power, privilege, and discretion, highlighting how the Rothschilds managed not only wealth but perception. The mansion also serves as a reminder of the influence of old money in shaping society. The Rothschilds were not simply wealthy, they were strategically powerful, and the mansion was a tangible manifestation of that power. It allowed them to host dignitaries, conduct private negotiations, and operate in ways that reinforced their social dominance. Today, visitors are drawn to this historical resonance, sensing that the mansion embodies more than aesthetic achievement. It represents the careful orchestration of influence over generations. Its walls tell a story of ambition, control, and foresight, all of which contributed to the enduring legacy of the Rothschild name. Even the myths and speculations surrounding the mansion contribute to its legacy. Stories of secret meetings, concealed treasures, and hidden passages, whether entirely factual or embellished over time, reinforce the aura of enigma that surrounds the estate. These tales feed public fascination, inviting continuous inquiry and interpretation. Modern researchers, journalists, and enthusiasts alike are compelled to explore not only the physical space, but the symbolic space it represents, a world where wealth, secrecy, and strategy converge in ways that continue to inspire awe and curiosity. The mansion's enduring influence can also be seen in its ability to shape perceptions of power and luxury. It stands as a benchmark for what old money estates represented: refinement, cultural sophistication, and meticulous control over both material and social capital. Unlike many other historic estates that have lost their connection to their founders' intentions, the Rothschild mansion retains a sense of purposeful design, reflecting the family's understanding that true legacy lies not only in possession, but in the careful orchestration of narrative, secrecy, and presentation. In the modern era, the mansion continues to be a symbol of fascination for those who seek to understand the intersection of wealth, history, and human ambition. Its legacy is not only tangible in the form of architecture and artifacts, but intangible in the enduring stories, mysteries, and speculations that surround it. Visitors leave with a sense that they have glimpsed only a fraction of its truth. that behind the visible elegance lies a depth of history, strategy, and secrecy that will never be fully revealed. Ultimately, the Rothschild mansion's legacy today is a testament to the power of discretion, the allure of mystery, and the lasting impact of one family's deliberate cultivation of influence. It reminds us that history is not only written in events but in spaces, objects, and the careful control of what is known and what remains hidden. The mansion endures as both a monument to wealth and an enduring puzzle, where every corridor, every chamber, and every artifact continues to tell the story of a family that mastered the art of old money legacy.